Hello everybody, J.Yumeko here, and today we're back, finally after 2 weeks, with some more of the house in Fata Morgana. Last time we left off, we finally got the completed story of how the black-haired maid came to be. So if you don't, I'm about to go over in just a second here, so if you don't want me to spoil that, then go ahead and watch the last episode. But it has been 2 weeks, so you've had plenty of time. But anyways, so basically it played out nearly the same as how the maid initially retold it, except this time instead of angry villagers, it was actually knights who had come there. And it turns out that the knights that were there were actually led by Michael's own brother, the very brother that promised him a place back at the house at the Bollinger estate after their father had died. So that turned out to be a complete lie. Their father died. Supposedly Michael's brother took over and then just decided to get rid of Michael once and for all. Now, during this whole escapade, Michael had asked the witch, who was very much real, to protect God, what's her name? Son of a gun. Well, he asked the witch to protect the black-haired maid, essentially. We're just going to call her the black-haired maid for now. So he asked the witch to protect her. She did, but obviously this is a witch we're talking about. So she basically has now at this point manipulated the black-haired maid into this deal where she promises that Michael will have a reconstruction, quote-unquote, both in a similar body as well as, you know, a similar personality. So she's not guaranteeing resurrection, but she's guaranteeing a reconstruction, as she calls it. And so she's also kind of now lulled the black-haired maid into becoming the black-haired maid, basically saying, hey, I can guarantee Michael's reconstruction. I can't guarantee anything on you. You're going to be going throughout, like, you know, if you want, you can go throughout these lives and potentially meet him again. Or you can stay exactly as you are and you can serve me and I can guarantee you'll see him again. Because she has some, you know, people that she wants to take care of. So that's pretty much where we left off. So before we jump into the video, I just want to let you guys know that'd be awesome if you could hit the subscribe button and turn on the post notifications so you can be notified when a new one of these videos comes out. With how crappy my upload schedule is, I highly recommend doing that, or else, you know, who knows what I might post next. Especially now, I've started college classes again. I'm still working, so yeah, lots of things going on. I am going to go over I am going to upload an update video soon as well. But without further ado, let's stop yapping. Let's jump right on back into it. Sorry if I'm coughing. I don't know where I got this cough from, but it's back, so we'll have to deal with it. From the moment I lent my ear to the witch's sweet temptations, the mansion underwent an unimaginable transformation. No light shone through the windows, despite them still being unobstructed. Not morning, day, or evening. In fact, the concepts of morning, day, and evening did not seem to exist. The darkness resembled that of when the windows had been sealed off, but there was something more fundamentally unreal about it. Like it was hovering over a vast, all-consuming abyss within a constant haze of malice. I felt like I had been cast into some unknown realm, and that was why there was nothing beyond the windows. And the house was not the only thing that underwent changes. I too was no exception. In the blink of an eye, all my basic human urges vanished. I stopped feeling hungry, and I no longer needed to sleep. Naturally, I was bewildered by what was happening to me, what I was turning into. Giselle, that's her name.
I think I'll look around. Maybe there have been other changes.
The familiar grayscale monotone coloring that we have grown so accustomed to.
So I meandered through the mansion's halls. My original intent was to explore the entire house, but I found myself drawn toward one room in particular. That's right, your bedchamber. There was no light, not a trace of color remaining in your chambers, but the bed was the same shape, the walls the same texture, the curtains the same design as when you'd been alive. Michael, I'm praying, always praying, that someday we'll meet again. Oh, there's something hidden under the bed. What could it be? It's that painting.
Ah, yes, the painting with the white-haired girl on it.
I never did get to ask why he got so angry about me seeing this. I'm sure it's something he didn't want to be reminded of. Perhaps having to do with his family. I was right not pressing him about it. What? Ah! Huh? What the? Did the painting just smirk at me? Oh God. Ah! Ugh. Oh jeez, Giselle. What are you doing tripping over yourself? It was just that accursed witch messing with your head. No need to get spooked over a tasteless prank. When I stumbled, I guess I knocked a drawer open. There's something inside. Letters, it looks like. I shouldn't touch these. They're not mine. But I want something of Michael's to have. Something to remember him by. His letters would be in his handwriting. They would contain his words. Please forgive me, Michael. I don't mean you any ill will, but I'm going to take these. I must say, there's an impressive number of... Eek! What on earth? It's like someone dumped an inkwell on every page. But why? What's this the witch is doing too? Yeah, it has to be. It must have been her. It definitely wasn't you, Michael. Was it?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, because I think I think it's pretty clear to say that the picture of this white-haired girl is probably his sister. I want to say that at some point there was mention of a sister who had died, or something along those lines. But whatever the case is, clearly there's some serious resentment going on.
The front door. I wonder what it looks like outside. I can't get it open. What's going on? The bar isn't set, but it won't budge an inch. It's just like up in the tower. I know, the windows. They should be open. Then I can... What's going on here? What the heck is going on? It's like there's an invisible wall in front of the window. My hand won't go any farther. Mrs. Rich, what else can I do but laugh? What in the world? This is madness. Gah. Hurry up, Michael. Return to me and get me out of here. Please, get me out of here. Gah. I had no idea how to explain anything that had happened to the mansion, but it was clear enough that I was imprisoned within its walls. I was all alone in a nebulous sphere of bleak darkness, and beyond its walls lay void. The layout of the house remained unchanged, but I felt as though I had wandered into a twisting labyrinth. I could cry, but there was no one there to soothe me. All it did was provoke her disembodied cackling, which she followed with, "You chose this, my dear, so you need to hold yourself together and keep wishing." My only real pastime was cleaning. I dusted the same corners again and again, swept the same floors, polished the same dishes. One day, I decided I would read the books left in the library. Despite there being more than 100 volumes, I finished every one of them in what felt like no time at all. My life was a never-ending cycle. Day in and day out, day in and day out. The house had no visitors. No one, rather nothing at all, set foot upon the property. There were no signs of other life whatsoever there. No birds singing in the morning, no cats sunbathing in the garden, no mice scurrying above the kitchen, no creepy crawly insects. There was nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing that broke the long stretches of silence was her voice. Tell me, was she kind to you? Was she friendly and courteous? Because she was quite harsh when she spoke to me. These were the kinds of things she was always saying to me. He didn't show up today, did he, my dear? Are you still praying, my dear? Do you think he'll actually come, my dear? I'm still wishing, just like I promised, my dear. You know why he hasn't come for you, my dear? Because perhaps he doesn't actually love you as much as you thought. My dear, my dear, my dear. Have you lost your mind yet? Shut up! I've had enough! I'm done with you! Enough! Please, enough already! Oh, what's got you so worked up? You love to talk, don't you? So why not have a nice little chat with me? This is not a chat! Maybe not in your mind, my dear. You seem to think chatting only constitutes conversations you enjoy. But I don't think the word's usage needs to be restricted personally. You're just getting off on watching me squirm. Oh, not at all. You'll have all my best wishes if he ever does show up for you. Ooh, so scary. If you're making that face when he shows up. He might not even recognize you. Well, you haven't looked in a mirror recently, have you? Go on then, my dear. Let's see just how frightening you've become. No. The witch was right. I looked nightmarish. My face was pale and lifeless, my eyes hollow, my cheeks sunken, heavy bags beneath my eyes. My hair had lost its sheen and it grew wildly. I was quickly losing everything that had made me recognizable as me, and the thought sent a shiver down my spine. No, this isn't me. This is some kind of trick. You're trying to deceive me. Baseless accusations. You really must stop blaming people every time something doesn't turn out the way you want, my dear. But, my face was more, what? More expressive, more cheerful, brighter, rosier. You're right. You were never this gloomy, were you? Right. I wasn't. I was always more cheerful than this. Naive girl. Could you be any more narcissistic? Huh? What you're looking at is undeniably exactly what you look like now. Time did not do that to you, nor did I. The negative energy oozing from within you is what's causing you to take on this form. Did you think you didn't have any dark, ugly emotions inside you? Did you believe you'd always be able to smile no matter what? Did you assume you were pure and beautiful? No one like that exists, my dear. What you see in the mirror is the true you, your hideous, twisted heart. If you weren't always being so nasty, this never would have happened. Anyone's heart would be twisted listening to you long enough. So you're saying Michael's heart was twisted too? I spoke to him for years. No. I'm just teasing. I suppose I may have crossed the line there. I mean you no ill will, Giselle. Honest. Allow me to give you one word of advice, though. Look at yourself in the mirror often. If you continue deteriorating at this rate and end up looking like a corpse, when Michael comes and sees you, he won't jump for joy, but run away screaming in terror. Stop talking. Please, just stop. You know, Giselle, this is only the very beginning. He might not show up for hundreds of years. I can't live that long. Absolutely brilliant. You still think you're alive? What? The moment you agreed to come with me, you ceased to be of this world. So don't worry about time, my dear. You can wait as long as it takes. As long as it takes for him to arrive. As the witch had suggested, I started checking my appearance in the mirror every day. I wanted to ensure I didn't turn into some horrific creature. My hair grew, so time seemed to be passing, but I didn't appear to age at all. The flow of time had become perplexingly vague and uncertain. Was it stopped, or was it moving at all? I couldn't tell. On occasion, I would practice smiling in front of the mirror. My smile was, after all, my one really distinctive feature, and I was certain you had seen me smiling more than anything. Even if my appearance had changed drastically, I thought, you would still be able to recognize me by my smile. A woman standing alone in front of a mirror practicing how to smile. I'm sure that was quite the comical sight. And that was about how my days went, for an incomprehensibly long time. 1099.
About 100 years have passed. 101 years have passed. 1200.
For the first 100 years, I kept track of how much time had passed. An hour, a day, a month, a year, 10 years, 50. But once it had surpassed an average person's lifespan, the counting started driving me mad, and so I stopped. My sense of time began to numb. In place of sleep, I spent my days in a trance-like state. Doing so, I was less aware of the passage of time, which made it a little easier to bear. Suspended in this bubble of time, my mind went out to you.
Alright. What was that, another 100 years?
The next thing I lost the sense of was myself. I lived as a human for 21 years. After spending nearly 10 times that trapped in the mansion, I began to feel like that was all I had ever been. That maybe my past was all a construction of my imagination. That as an otherworldly being, I merely fantasized about being human. Had I actually had a family? Had there actually been other people in the world? Did cities and villages really exist? Was there ever really a time when light shone through the windows, when we were happy? But I knew if I started doubting everything, I wouldn't be able to maintain myself, so I settled on believing one thing, that you, Michael, were real. That you had been with me, that I had loved you, and that it was you I was waiting for. I tried to always remember that one fact.
I forget how far exactly we got. I think we even got to like the 1800s even, maybe the 1900s. We got very far in terms of like the timeline of her initial storytelling.
My characteristic energy and cheer were disappearing. By then I hardly ever raised my voice anymore, and in response to that change, the witch seemed to treat me a little nicer. On occasion I could sense her presence nearby, like she might reveal her form to me from beyond the darkness, instead of only speaking to me. I could feel her sitting beside me. Giselle, do you think you're still Giselle even now? I suppose it doesn't matter either way. Sometimes I think love and fanaticism are two sides of the same coin.
Fanaticism.
What are you implying? Oh, nothing. I have an idea, though. Why don't we make you some new clothes, my dear? The loom should still work, thanks to you keeping everything in order. That outfit's an artifact of an age long past by now. You know how long it's been? Vaguely, but yes. As we speak, time still marches onward. Not too quickly, and not too slowly. but at the same pace as your breathing. Now, on your feet, Giselle. We have plenty of time, so let's make you the perfect maid's outfit. And if we don't have enough materials, we can make more thread from the sheets or curtains. How exciting! Following her instructions, I wove garments in a style that did not exist in my era. They were quite strange to behold. The old me might have been stricken with fascination by them, but at that point, I wasn't even sure how to rejoice, how to be impressed, or how to be moved anymore.
$1,500.
It sounds like rain again. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss. What year is it? Hiss, hiss. Oh, it doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter where it is. As long as you're there, it can be any time, anywhere. Where are you, Michael? What are you doing? I'm still praying. I'm still wishing for you to appear before me. Forever and ever and ever. And ever and ever and ever. I've been praying for so long. I don't even know how long it's been. Before you left, you said you were going to pray too. You said you hoped we could meet again in another life. I'm not misremembering, am I? Michael, come back to me soon. I love you so, so very much. But my memories of you are starting to fade. What did your voice sound like? What kinds of faces did you make? What did you like to put your hands on me? I don't want to forget. I want to always remember. My memories of you are the only thing holding me together. But they're slipping away from me. How did you speak? What kinds of things did you talk about? I'm losing all these memories. Please, Michael, come back to me before I forget everything. My beloved master. The thought crossed my mind that maybe Morgana's guarantee that she would be reconstructed was just a lie to trick me into staying here. But I quickly discarded it, because if she had been lying, it would strip all meaning from my very existence. It would take from me my purpose for being here, so I didn't want to accept that possibility. I had no choice but to persevere in my belief that you would return. I'd always thought I would be all right, that my faith would never waver. I still believed in myself. But you can be the happiest, most optimistic, resolute person in the world, and you'll still break eventually. And I was at the point where even the slightest tap would shatter me into fragments.
All right, 1600, 1591. Very specific date.
Several hundred years after I was enslaved within the mansion, something changed for the very first time. Sunlight, which I had not seen in all that time, shone in from the outside. At first, I did not believe it was real. I thought it was a hallucination born of my inner desires, and I thought I must have completely lost it from my fantasies to have escaped my mind. But it didn't matter if it was all an illusion. The gentle breeze blowing in through the window felt wonderful. The smell of grass, the chirping of birds, the glistening blue sky. It was like 1,000 memories rushing back all at once, and it brought tears to my eyes. The time has come, Giselle. It's time for you to get to work. And as she always did, the witch's voice crushed my elation, dragging me back to reality. Reveling in the sight of the outside was the last thing I should have been doing, for it was that moment that began my true decline. Work? What kind of work? Have you already forgotten? Oh, good heavens. Do you have your head straight, my dear? As I said, I need you to watch over the house and show your utmost hospitality to those who show up. Is someone... This is merely an appetizer. It looks like someone's here. Hold on. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Do the same thing you've always been doing. Be a maid. Convince the house guests that this is a wonderful place. Make them enjoy their stay. Now go on. I'm quite looking forward to this.
So this should theoretically be the flaxen-haired family.
The bar has been removed, but will the door open? For so long, the door had refused to budge. For so long, light had forsaken these halls. For so long, there had been no trace of life. And now, all of that had been turned on its head. I felt like I had stepped into heaven on earth. I know it sounds melodramatic, so please don't laugh. It was almost certainly a perfectly ordinary slice of nature. Leaves and grass rustled in the wind. Flowers specked the earth. And in the distance was a city I didn't recognize. I wondered where I was, of course, but I neither shouted nor jumped in surprise. Instead, I found myself accepting of these circumstances, as unnatural as they might have been. As I was standing there idly before the entrance, a carriage rolled up.
Egad, could this road be any bloody worse? It's in dire need of paving on top of everything else. And who might you be, young lady? That outfit.
He's speaking a different language. The middle-aged man approached me. From his attire and the way he held himself, he appeared to be upper class. However, the words coming out of his mouth were not in the language I'd grown up speaking. Could the mansion have moved somewhere really far away? Naturally, I had no idea how such a thing was possible, and the longer I stood there staring at him absent-mindedly, the more incredulous he became. My immediate mission was to overcome the language barrier. Fortunately, I suppose, I was able to understand bits and pieces of what he had said. As merchants in the capital, my family did business with people from other countries, and as a result, I had learned a handful of words. The problem was, it had been so long ago, I had no confidence whatsoever in my ability to hold a conversation. I am a servant.
Servant? Can't say I remember asking for a lady servant. But hey, I suppose these things do happen. Doesn't matter who they sent.
Who are you?
Weren't you informed? Bloody hell, off to a great start, I see. Well, what can you do, I guess? Name's Hayden Rhodes. Just a retired old man.
Hayden Rhodes. Didn't hear that name before.
As I'm sure you've already guessed, this man was the Rhodes siblings' grandfather.
Yep, there it is. I knew it. Yep, because I remember in the very first story about the flaxen-haired family, they had mentioned that this mansion was first bought and kind of revitalized by the grandfather. Then the grandfather died, and then, the flaxen-haired boy's father supposedly took over. So this is where everything started.
He was also the first person I served under as the maid. For a member of an esteemed noble family, Hayden was a bit on the eccentric side.
Oh my god! Oh, that music is... that's fucking... We're back, man! This feels so weird! We have not heard this music in a while.
He only hired a handful of servants, claiming he was not fond of clamor. There was a single chef, a physician, a servant to take care of all the cleaning, and then me, who served as his personal assistant. Whenever he got the chance, Hayden would chase me down and make me practice proper etiquette. According to him, I had much to learn.
You are at least technically a servant of the Rhodes family, young lady, so I can't have you going around playing the country bumpkin act.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have to do something about that accent too while we're at it.
I have an accent.
Thicker than bloody molasses. Now, I have no interest in sticking my nose into your business asking where you hail from, but while you're here you must act the part, young lady. Lucky for you, I'm retired and have all the time in the world. I'll teach you everything you need to know about proper etiquette.
Alright.
Speak up, will ya?
Yes, sir. Hayden did not go easy on me either. In addition to my day-to-day duties, I studied etiquette, the language, proper pronunciation, and formal diction. Any time I made the slightest mistake, he would shout his dissatisfaction.
Listen carefully. A servant is the face of the house. A servant's garth is his master's garth.
Or I guess that would be guffaw, wouldn't it? Anyways.
Always keep this in mind. You're not just a maid. You must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure, even if the house is falling down around you. Whatever happens, you deal with it quickly and quietly. Your language must be immaculate. No ums, uhs, or pauses, for any reason.
Yes, sir.
No stammering either.
Sorry.
Bloody hell, you're not going to make this easy, are you? Whose idea was it that a country bumpkin would make a good servant? I'd like to give her a piece of my mind.
I am not from the country. Not even slightly. I was raised in the capital.
Is that so, eh? A prim and proper city girl, are you? In that case, you should be a quick study.
Absolutely. I can learn anything in a week's tops. Piece of cake.
Is that so? Alright then. Starting tomorrow, I'm tripling your lessons.
I didn't think this through. In addition to him being my master, Hayden was my teacher. When he yelled, he grew twice his size and I shrunk half to mine. But it wasn't all an unpleasant experience, because I knew he wasn't raising his voice to belittle me. His instructions may have been harsh, but it was human interaction. There were people around that I could talk to, and that was wonderful. I was starting to regain some of my humanity.
Unlike me, you've still got a long life ahead of you, young lady.
Yeah, you don't say.
I don't know what kind of life you've lived, but I can't imagine it's been all that easy. Not many servant girls your age without a home to go back to. Which is why you need to learn this. Once you've got all the rules and custom down, you'll be able to own your own in any noble's estate. You shouldn't have any trouble keeping yourself employed. I'm sure you'll think I'm just a loud, obnoxious old man, but I believe we met for a reason, so I hope you'll stick with me.
I don't think about you like that at all, Master. You're a remarkable man.
One more time.
I deeply appreciate your generous consideration, Master, from the bottom of my heart.
Aye.
I didn't know much about Hayden's situation, why he had retired to the mansion all alone, away from the rest of his family. But anytime I asked about them, he would say,
"It happens sometimes,"
with a melancholic frown. Before long, 2 years had passed. By that point, my etiquette had improved enough to satisfy his high standards. In that time, the mansion underwent a number of decor changes, as Hayden brought in sculptors to work on different areas of the house. He also sealed off rooms that were not in use, such as the observation tower in the chapel. It was a sad thing, seeing areas with so many memories for me falling into disuse. But as a mere servant, I had no say in the matter. In addition, Hayden seemed to greatly enjoy renovating the house, so I watched him warmly. The furniture was all gradually replaced, gorgeous paintings hung on the walls, colorful patterned curtains installed, and a brilliant rose garden planted.
These roses come from all across the world. Nowhere else you can see so many different varieties in one place.
It's beautiful. Did you know that in the city, people are starting to call the mansion Rose Manor?
Rose Manor.
And to think there used to be nothing but weeds here. Amazing how much it's changed. I never thought I would see this garden turned into something so beautiful.
Are you fond of roses, young lady?
Yes, red ones especially. Red roses mean a great deal to me. They remind me of a long time past.
Given one as a gift, were you?
No, I believe I was the one who gave the rose. So red roses are a symbol of my feelings. They're very precious to me. I gave you a rose as a gift. You plucked it from its stem and placed it in my hair. Am I remembering correctly? My memories are so vague now. I can't even remember the look on your face that day.
There are some kids I'd like to give roses to myself.
Who?
My grandchildren.
Oh my, you have grandchildren.
Aye, though we haven't been in touch for some time. Last I saw them was 4 years ago. When my second grandchild was born. The sweetest girl in the world, with lovely flaxen hair. She's going to be a real beauty when she grows up. Anyway, they're wonderful kids, and one day I want to hand this garden over to them. Each and every rose containing my hope that they'll live comfortable, healthy lives free of strife.
I'm sure your wish will come to pass. Your grandchildren will live wonderful lives.
Aye. Yeah, well, we all know how that went down.
The grief of not having you around still weighed heavily on my mind, but I was slowly approaching contentedness. Life with Hayden was slow and uneventful, peaceful and relaxing. I imagined my heart was seeking anything to relieve its pain, and it found that in the beautifully remodeled mansion, the garden blooming wildly with roses, and my time with Hayden, I was even beginning to think this life was enough for me, that I would be okay if this being the end, if it meant more of the tranquility I felt. I was, like a coward, considering giving up the fight. Please do forgive me for ever considering such a thing. Hayden seemed to be in high spirits one day. A gift had apparently arrived from his son, who lived far away. In it was a tea set, some leaves, and a small jar of sugar.
Miss!
How can I be of service, master?
Brew me up a pot of this, would you? Be careful not to steep it for too long. You want to get it just right for the best flavor.
As you wish, master. You seem quite pleased.
Why would I be? The boy's shunned his old man for years and sent him a paltry gift on a whim. I'm just entertaining his fancy.
Your tea is ready, master.
Ah, what a wonderful smell. Tea and roses are life's best damn spices. Now, let's see what that boy chose for me. If it's no good, I'll be sure to write him an angry letter.
He looks so happy. He must really love his family.
It's a little bitter.
Shall I brew another pot?
No, it's not your fault. Must be something in the leaves.
Would you like to add some sugar then? There's a small jar of it with the tea set.
Now that's some bloody fine sugar he's procured. Why'd you snow and sparkles in the light?
He chose it just for you, master.
Bloody hell, what demon possessed him? Alright, give me 2 spoons then.
Yes, master. Here you are.
Ah, splendid. This is some exquisite tea. The sugar balances the bitterness of the leaves perfectly. I guess that boy does have some...
Master! 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 The doctor! I need to find the doctor! Water! Water! I'll get you some water right away! So please hang in there! Thanks to the quick treatment provided by his personal physician, Hayden survived, but he didn't make it out with much more than his life. He was permanently bedridden by the affair. Evidently, the sugar I put in his tea had contained poison, which had done irreparable damage to his nerves and muscles. Most of his body was completely immobile, except for his left arm. Can I bring you something?
I've had more than my fill of water. You don't need to wait on me hand and foot. That face says you need to distract yourself by working. Remember what I told you? A noble family's servants must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure.
But how can you expect me to remain composed? If I had only examined the sugar more thoroughly.
You never would have noticed, young lady. I examined the sugar and didn't see a bloody thing wrong with it. He was damn crafty, that's for sure.
Why would he do this?
His inheritance, I presume. Something must have come up and he needed money quickly.
There's no reason to poison your own father.
Blood is nothing but an obstacle to ambition. Or maybe he just hated me.
How could anyone possibly hate you?
Perhaps that could be said of me. Perhaps that could be said of the me you know. But when you live as long as I have, you're bound to make an enemy or two. Mine just happened to be my son. I was planning to give him everything anyway. He didn't have to do this. It all would have been his.
Master!
Killing me doesn't accomplish anything. But I guess it doesn't matter much. Say, could I ask you something, young lady?
What can I do for you?
I don't want it to get out that Hayden Rose was poisoned. So could you tell people that I passed away peacefully with a beautiful nurse tending to my every need?
You're not dead yet. Please don't talk like that. You're scaring me.
No stammering.
But...
I'm not saying it'll happen immediately, but I am an old man, and one day you'll wake up and I'll be gone. This is about my own pride, not my son. The last thing I want is to go out with a black spot on my name. Tell me you'll do this, Giselle.
He's never said my name before. As you wish.
Thank you. You're a peculiar girl, you know. Sometimes you seem greener than the leaves in summer, and sometimes you seem like you've seen 12 kinds of hell. And every so often, you seem not of this world. Your skin is pale, your hands as cold as ice. At one point I thought you might be Death himself. But I was wrong about that. You have too big a heart to be Death. You care too much. You must be carrying a very heavy cross on your back.
What am I supposed to do? I don't want to lose you, Lord Hayden. I don't want to lose this life.
You have someone, don't you, young lady? Someone you're dying to meet again.
Yes, but I don't know anymore. I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep waiting. If something doesn't happen soon, I don't think I can hold myself together much longer. I was so close to breaking down, and it was you who kept me on my feet.
I'm sure you've tried to remain strong plenty of times, so I'll give you some different advice. A trick for when you're losing hold of yourself. Build a cocoon.
Cocoon?
A sturdy shell to keep your weak inner self safe. This world has no interest in protecting you, only swallowing you whole. So you mustn't readily expose your true self. You build a cocoon, and you play the role you need to play. That way, the real you will remain unharmed. It's not pleasant to hide yourself like that, but it's better than letting the world crush you. But a word of warning, if you spend too long with the cocoon, the real you is liable to disappear forever. You'll be swallowed up by your own protective shell. I hope you find whoever it is before it's too late. Now, I think I'll get some sleep. All this talking's worn me out.
As you wish. Good night, Master. See you in the morning.
Aye. See you in the morning, young lady.
The next day, Hayden was dead. He had strangled himself with his left hand. I should have been more attentive. I should have recognized how much pain he was in, how much it crushed him to have been betrayed by his own family. I should have realized how he truly felt, how fragile he truly was. I fell into a hopeless gloom. I could hardly believe that the quiet life I had finally attained had been shattered in the blink of an eye. Hayden's other servants quickly went their own ways, and I vividly remember the dirty looks they all gave me. Everyone who knew how he died assumed I had done it. I had no reason to kill him, though. But they had more than enough to believe so, for I had indeed been the last person to see him alive, and I held firmly to the story he asked me to tell. While I was unable to convince the other servants, his family was far more accepting of the story that he had departed for the next world happily, though that did not make the truth any less heartbreaking, especially since I was the only one who knew it. Why does this always have to happen? I was happy, but I can never seem to hold it for more than a flash. Despair always comes marching in to rip it away. What am I doing here? What kind of person were you, Michael? What kind of person was I? Oh, my dear, you look positively miserable. Why should you despair at the death of some strange old geezer? Morgana, was Hayden one of those people who you wished to be reconstructed? I have no interest in that wrinkled bag of bones. And if he was one of them, do you really think I would have let him go so peacefully? Peaceful? You call that peaceful? You call his misery peaceful? I most certainly do. And since you don't seem to understand this, the pain of death lasts but an instant. The worst torture can only be inflicted upon the living, setting two loved ones against each other, manipulating one into taking the other's life, and then forcing him to live with that. The stage hasn't even been set yet, my dear. And you would have me play a part in that. Indeed. You agreed to accompany me. You're here to be my guide, and you're doing a wonderful job of it so far. I haven't done anything. Oh, but you killed that old man, did you not? Thanks to you, my wish is one step closer to fruition. What do you mean I killed Hayden? You mean to claim you didn't? Tell me, who was it that put the poisoned sugar in his tea? No, I didn't mean to. Your intentions are irrelevant. Everything moves along the path forged by my wish, and you shall continue to follow its will. You know what? I'm done feeling like this. I don't want anyone else to go through what Hayden did. And what are you going to do about it? I'm done listening to you. Without me, you have no influence over this world. Oh. So I'll die. I'll take my own life right here and now. I grabbed the nearby knife and held the tip against my breast. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding. My whole body was racked with terror, but I could have sworn I heard Morgana gasp. This was her one weakness, I thought. What are you thinking? Don't do this, Giselle. Don't be foolish. Put the knife down right now. I'm done trusting anything you say. Giselle, put the knife down. I've missed you so very much, Michael. I've wanted nothing more than to see you again. But if my being Morgana's guide is going to cause other people suffering, then I can't. It's all over, Morgana. Huh? There's no blood. Not even pain. Why? Absolutely brilliant. I told you not to be foolish, but you just wouldn't listen to me. Such a silly girl. I really am. I couldn't even die if I wanted to. Learning that absolutely crushed me. My backup plan, the one escape route I had thought available to me, had been ripped away. My spirit crumbled and I felt myself sinking into a vast darkness. I began losing my grip on myself, which is when I recalled Aiden's advice. Build a cocoon. It was the only option I had left. My final chance at protecting myself. Although ultimately, I was unsuccessful in that endeavor, as you know. But by that point, my mind and spirit had all but been lost. Eroded away by the years of solitude, the witch's whispers, the brief glimmer of happiness, and the eternal boundless darkness it had left me in. It was in that moment that all light drained from my eyes, and it was in that moment that the maid was born.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop it right there. Return to the ancients. I just want to listen to that music for a second. Okay. Wow. You know, this game's story really never fails to just keep me engaged with it. So, now we're going back through the stories. But the biggest thing here is the white-haired girl. That is our biggest mystery. The maid initially told all these stories, and they all happened to involve the white-haired girl. Why? We know that the white-haired girl isn't Michael. We know that the white-haired girl was presumably a relative of Michael's, who presumably has died, and who Michael presumably has something against. There is something about that. We don't know who she is. We don't know if she has any connection with the witch. We know nothing at all. But I'd also like to keep in mind that Michael mentioned that he was cursed, quote unquote, because he had made a deal with the devil. So, with that there must be some connection between the white-haired girl and the witch. And that somehow got Michael involved in some way, shape, or form. That has caused him to then resent the white-haired girl, whoever she is. So, the biggest thing, obviously, is now that it seems that we're going to go back through the stories, the flaxen-haired family, the merchant and his fiancée, the beast, right? We're going to go back through all of these stories, but what's going to change? You know, Jacopo as well, right? What's going to change, though? Is the white-haired girl still going to be this critical component in each of these stories, or is she going to be, or is it going to be revealed that, similar to the black-haired maid's own story, that she was just some stand-in for something completely different? So it could be either or. I kind of lean more towards that the white-haired girl was well, it might even be a mix of both, because it would kind of be one of those things where, like Giselle said, after that, the life was drained from her eyes. She started to put up this cocoon. So she kind of became very detached from all these happenings. That's why she always appeared so emotionless. That's why she always seemed to just kind of go back and forth between very provocative of the antagonist to not. Because obviously she was being influenced by the witch. But again, it's like, does the white-haired girl actually, is she real? Is the thing. So my theory that I'm going to throw out there is this. I think to a degree the white-haired girl was actually real. Because we see that she is simultaneously, a lot of times in these stories, the victim, but also one of the main reasons that there is any conflict in the first place. The flaxen-haired boy, for example. The only reason that it ended with his sister going batshit crazy and, you know, attacking the white-haired girl, cutting off all her hair, and then, you know, gluing the hair to her own head, is because, you know, her brother fell in love with the white-haired girl. The only reason that Jacopo ended up, you know, becoming so, like, depressed, I guess, and kind of incapable, basically threatening the foundation of what he was trying to do, was because of the white-haired girl. The reason that the beast, you know, or in the case being the merchant, right? The reason that the merchant even, I guess, really even stayed at the mansion and kind of had conflict within his own soul was because of the white-haired girl. She plays key roles in all this, and I think she is going to actually make an appearance. But I think that it might have a lot more heavily to do with the witch's influence, is what I think it is. Whether it's a manifestation of the witch's influence, whether she's an actual, like, being or what, I don't know. But I guess we'll find that out in future episodes. Anyways, that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any of the videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when a new one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!